Hey everybody, happy Monday. It's good to be with you. So, I've been getting this question a lot in my work with therapy clients and with yoga students and coaching clients and it's this idea of what to do with big emotions. How do we manage big difficult feelings, emotions, how to work with them? How do we contain them, right? And how to work with them in a way that won't repress them or make them constantly come back. So we're talking about emotions today and how to work mindfully with them. So what I want to say about this, and something that a metaphor that I used to use, and I still use, because I would see this a lot in wilderness when I worked in wilderness therapy. And this is this idea of a lot of times we will cut ourselves on accident or hurt ourselves or have let's say we accidentally scrape our arm and we don't deal with it. Okay. And then we try to put a Band-Aid on our arm. But we didn't clean it out. We didn't put any sort of antibiotic ointment or any sort of essential oil. I like to use essential oils on mine, and sometimes antibiotic ointment. But let's say that we have this big gash, and we don't do anything about it. We just kind of cover it up and put a Band-Aid over it. Okay. And what I would see a lot in wilderness, and a lot of the reasons that people were there, because they kept putting Band-Aids on things. Okay, and what do I mean by this emotionally? This looks like judging our feelings and saying, I shouldn't feel the way that I feel. Okay, or saying these are a lot of times these are internal ways of thinking about feelings. So I shouldn't think this way, or I don't know what to do with this, so I'm just going to kind of ignore it and distract myself. Sometimes that's appropriate. With certain cases of trauma, but in the general idea of dealing with emotions and dealing with feelings mindfully, we want to be aware of how we might be pushing them away. Okay. So just notice the ways that you do this in yourself. And I think that when we work one-on-one with somebody, this is why I love my work as a psychotherapist and as a resilience coach, is this ability to work with somebody with our feelings in a mindful way and notice what our patterns of pushing them away are. Like, how do we avoid? And so if you notice that you have a hard time staying with feelings, just start to become aware of that. Notice if it feels too uncomfortable. Like when I say, can you sit with something? Can you be with a feeling and let it just be there in your body? Notice what comes up for you around certain feelings. So sometimes this can be unbearable for people. And that's okay. You just have to know that about yourself. And what the work around that is breathing into it and working with it and allowing it to be in the body and starting to learn that it's not going to consume you. You won't die because of how sad you feel or how depressed you feel or angry you feel. Okay, so just notice if there's a lot of overwhelm that comes up around certain feelings. And then also understanding the way that our family and our family of origins held feelings. How did they work with feelings? How did they manage their feelings? And what did you see modeled for you? So all of these are a few factors of how we might be impacted in our ability to deal with our feelings. And so some ways to manage big feelings is to, one, let them be there. They're there for a reason, and they're a communication to you about something in your life. These big feelings are telling you something. And if we keep putting Band-Aids on things and trying to run away from things, what I would often see in wilderness, metaphorically and literally, is I'd come up to one of the kids and say, hey, it looks like your arm is infected. And then they just go, put their arm behind their back and say, no, it's not. I don't know what you're talking about. Right? So if we think about this metaphor, both with our own feelings and in general, literally, right? How are we avoiding? How are we pretending that something's not right? So that's really important to notice how we push things away. If you can just allow the feeling to be there, all feelings end. They all end. And it might feel in the moment like they're never going to end. So I want to encourage you to remember that all feelings, all states of being end. The anxiety ends, the stress ends, the sadness ends, the joy ends, right? Our feelings are so all over the place in so many ways. They fluctuate so much and so often. So just notice that, especially when you start to breathe into a feeling, allow it to be in the body, breathe into it. See if you can deepen your breath, especially elongate the exhale. Okay, really elongate your exhale, make it longer than the inhale. And then start to just watch the breath, be with the breath. Feel it in your body, in your nose, down into your lungs. And this breath, this channel of the breath will keep you present with the feeling. And this is a beautiful, really effective way to just allow a feeling to be there and allow it to do whatever work it needs to do. Because the feeling itself is not wrong. There are zero wrong feelings. There is no such thing as a wrong feeling. And so just allowing yourself to sit with it, to be with it. With some exceptions around kind of more severe trauma. Okay, so if that's you, you can message me. That's a different conversation. But most of us aren't necessarily typically dealing with that kind of thing on a day-to-day basis. So, letting the emotion ride, just let it cleanse you. Right? The feelings tell us something. They're information, and they're not wrong. They're just there. They just are. And sometimes we have to change our thoughts to help ourselves manage bigger feelings. Sometimes these are things that have been kind of programmed into our nervous systems as well. So there's a lot of ways that we sort of generate these sometimes unmanageable ways of feeling, but know that they can be managed and they can be worked with. And there's always hope around this. So use your breath as your anchor into yourself, that centered place in yourself. And then allow whatever's fluctuating through your mind and your emotional body, and maybe it's your physical body, to just work its way out. Just let it pass, let it do what it needs to do. It might be longer than you think, it might be shorter than you think, but stay with the breath. Notice if you can just be with whatever's there, allow it to be there without judgment, without labeling, and see what happens. And I'd love to hear from you and see how this works for you, or what you liked about it, or if there are other things that you're wanting to work with or dealing with in your life. You can comment below, or you can message me privately. I'd be happy to talk about it in one of these Mindful Monday Facebook Lives, okay? I hope you have a great day. I will post this onto the wall after, so if you want the recording, just come back in a few minutes. It just takes a few minutes to upload itself, okay? So again, I'd love to hear from you. Please let me know what's going on for you and what you could use support around in your life. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you on Monday next week. Bye.